Welcome, IT changemakers, to the Dex Show with Tim Flower and Tom McGraw. Let's get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back with our favorite guest, Geoff Wright. What's up, Geoff? Great to have you back for the fourth time, brother.
That's right.
Pleasure to have you back on the Dex Show once more. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. ChatGPT, right? Large language model stuff. I'm part of the chatbot nerd crew over here, so I've been inundated by people asking me like, why can't we use ChatGPT to like just tell us how to like, scale the universe?
Okay.
And it's have you used ChatGPT?
We actually, obviously you don't listen to every single episode of a Dex Show, Geoff. That's all I'm saying, because you
I do.
Have heard...
I'm actually testing you. I'm testing you to see if you remember what you said. And if
you would have heard the poem ChatGPT wrote about the Dex Show. It's a very beautiful poem. But no, as a writer by
scary
by
or
trade,
cool?
It was cool. It was a cool poem. It was scary insofar as it was quite good. It was. I find ChatGPT rather alarming, especially as I was trained as a writer, and it seems to be making great swathes of professional writers redundant in one fell swoop of innovation. But go on, talk to me about how you see the functionality coming into view.
Man, I mean, so I've tried it for some cool stuff. I've tried it. My brother works at Microsoft, right? So he's a Bing man. They're Binging it. The only thing I've ever Binged is like Google, right? I go to Bing and then I Bing Google and then I go to Google, right? But the idea that it can do some really, really mundane things that a lot of us do anyway. But I think what's happening is there's a lot of people that like quietly in the corner go, that's exactly what I do all day, right? I talk to Group A, and then Group B. Group B asks me what Group A is, and then I spend an hour writing an email about green IT or how we can make a better program, or how we can make. And when I say program, like how can we make a better project or whatever. And dude, you go to ChatGPT and you say, write me a scalable program for a company to do digital experience, and using NextThink, right? And I'm like, whoa! It starts. Is it perfect? No. But does it give you some pretty darn good ideas, because it's scraping the universe from up till 2022, right? It's pretty incredible, and.
Yeah, it is.
Like I think yesterday I saw an article that like 151 books were published on Amazon by the author ChatGPT. Did you see this?
No. Was that just in the last few days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are, why not? Yeah. But like you said, for people that enjoy writing, there's a creative twist that, some authors and some people that really put a lot of time and effort into the way they word like words. Words are powerful things. How people interpret them, especially at a global company like ours, around the world, different languages. Write me a compassionate email in 15 different languages addressing X, and within about 30 seconds, you have a pretty darn good starting point that, from what I've seen, would have taken me a couple hours of like coffee time, focus time, reading it, bouncing it off people. So I understand people's desire to use this. I own the chatbot here, so everybody has asked me like, why don't we do this? Why don't we have ChatGPT? Why don't we have it like, why can't I say, why does my laptop suck? And ChatGPT goes, oh, I'm, sorry to hear your laptop sucks. Here, let me check these things. Which is interesting, right? Because, from a digital experience standpoint, what a powerful tool if everybody could really do that. Why does my experience suck? And using the platforms we have, go, oh, we noticed you have 75,000 favorites, or cache is here, or your recycling bin is 80 gigs. And wow, right? How awesome to have remote actions run from anything that potentially could be impacting the end user or the customer or the people or you. And you could do it. It's so agnostic. You could do it at work. How awesome would it be at home, right? My Xbox is running slow, ChatGPT, right? Mm-hmm. How do I do a better job at Fortnite? How do I do a better job in Minecraft? How do I do a better job in Call of Duty? Any of the games, like, how do you do something better? And it does a pretty darn good job. So that's been my world since like December. Because you and I are in IT. December, ChatGPT dropped, and it's just been insane. It's been crazy since then. Wow. And now I'm seeing now I'm seeing like my local newspaper have like, will ChatGPT read your mind? There's always that side of it, right? The singularity. How soon is it before ChatGPT gets married to your gets married, has other ChatGPT kids, becomes sentient. Your thoughts, Tom?
No, I love it. No, I feel like it's interesting, isn't it? We feel like we move as a civilization at such breakneck speed technologically, right? Like that seems to be a characteristic of our entire lived lives. And yet, the last few weeks have underscored the fact that it has been a while since we all saw something that made our jaws drop and made us realize that the conditions of our existence are about to be tilted by an invention, by an advance. And that's precisely what we're going through.
Look, disruption's going to happen. That's what this is. This is super disruption. But being that I am a human being and that I am I love communication. I'm an analog person through and through. So when everybody says like digital this and digital that and ones and zeros and ones and zeros, there's a lot of space between the ones and zeros. There's a lot, right? And that's where that, the analog comes in. And that's what I live for, is that analog experience, that emotion, that the feeling you get when somebody you like is around you, right? That's not a digital experience. That's an emotional. That's there's something there, right? There's that warmth from the person or people that you're around, right? So my focus now is, let's talk about I think we did the Great Resignation like 5 years ago, right? Whenever we did that episode,
yeah,
but
sure.
to build on top of
5
that,
episodes ago,
yeah, 10 episodes ago, like 100 episodes ago.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The idea is there's so many employees now, and I've been seeing it. I actually took a guy out to lunch a couple weeks ago, mid-20s. A lot of these, I don't know, Gen Z, like people in their 20s, and again, this isn't a blanket statement, but I feel like there's a lot of people that have graduated college, right? Some people were in college during COVID. They didn't, there's your college experience. You've gone into it. A lot of the people that I'm seeing in their 20s, they resigned. They left. We've lost a few people that were like they started, and they've only been with the company, 4 months, 6 months, less than a year. Some of those folks are still here, but when I talk to them, because that's a big part of what I love to do, is just, hey, how are you feeling at this company? How are you doing? What are you doing? Like, where do you fit? What puzzle piece are you? Mm-hmm. And, the people that are still here, some of them have said, Geoff, I had a sign-on bonus that says I have to be here till X date. Mm-hmm. And that's not the first thing I want to hear out of somebody's mouth. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, hey, how do you like this job? I got to be here for another year.
Yeah.
I'm
obliged to be here. How are you?
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. But it scares me. I have a 13-year-old son. I know I know kids. I know people that my brother has kids in high school and that have just graduated, right? And there is this level of uncertainty that, Tom, you or I, we're in our early 30s, right? So we're late 20s, early.
How old are you, Geoff?
In doggies. I'm
How
45.
old are you in real life years?
4 or 5, man.
4 5, yeah. 40 over here, so
Are you 40?
Yeah,
Are you really?
I am. Yeah.
No. Are you really 40?
Yeah.
All right.
Really
All right.
40.
So you've hit that
I was
milestone.
going to leave it
so now
ambiguous. You may have thought I was older, younger. I just won't even ask.
I'm 40.
It's a mystery.
That's it. No, I'm 45, and you and because if you're 40, you wake up and things hurt, and you start finding that's when your doctor starts telling you things like yeah, that's just how it is, right? When you go to the doctor and you're like, hey, I got a weird thing and my shoulder hurts and my hair's falling out, and they're like, yeah, that's what happens. Instead of addressing the issue, right? Instead of saying, yeah, you might want to take this or do more of this, they're just kind of like, that's what happens. Suck it up. I wake up and my shoulder's all messed up, and they're like, that's shoulderitis.
How many miles on that clock? Well, you might need a new car.
That's right. Oh, dude, you want to talk about city miles? I am the king of city miles, dude. I have unbelievable hard mileage on this. But anyway, the people that people that I speak to that are in their 20s, there's a level of uncertainty that you or I never really had, right? I mean, anybody in our age bracket we had the internet, we had cell phones, the idea of being constantly connected, which you and I and people in our bracket we deal with, right? We have a phone, we know our boss is going to get us and whatever. But the people in their 20s and early 30s, I see a sense of such a heightened sense of anxiety, uncertainty, and stress. And, one of the things I love, like, hi, how you doing? I'm okay. Are you really? Like, is there anything I could do to help? Like, well, we have all these things, and I have to do X, Y, and Z for those folks over there on the other side of the pond, or X, Y, and Z for us here on the East Coast. The idea is, how do you help them understand that this is unfortunately, this is how it's unfolding. This is how we're evolving, right? It's an evolution. But how do you lower their anxieties? How do you lower their level of uncertainty and give them a very direct goal at the company? And that's something I've been helping with a lot of people, although we've lost some people. It's just say, how can I help you just understand that you're not alone, right? You're one of all of us, right? You're one of the people on planet Earth that need to just focus on a task, focus on the goals, focus on the bigger picture. Don't be scared. ChatGPT is not going to take your job. And guess what? If ChatGPT takes your role, or some CEO out there, because that's the argument, right? It's good versus evil. Captains of industry, board of directors, CEOs, Wall Street. Somebody at the top is saying, we could use ChatGPT and large language models and AI to really bolster our company and our people, right? To work less hours, right? 30-hour work week, right? Or shorten the time and allow the people that are at our company to focus. Or the bad guys, I hate to say bad guys, but, hey, we can employ 1,500 bots and lay off 30,000 people. And be better about it, because guess what? AI and bots work 24/7, 365, 364 and a half, because you got to reboot them. All right, there's going to be an update on these things every once in a while. And it's a scary sci-fi, very Orwellian kind of vibe.
So how do you think about, when you think about where you focused your career, particularly by the sounds of it, in, say, the last 5 years, Geoff, how much of an accelerant is ChatGPT? How consistent is it with with your current direction of technological travel already in terms of what it makes possible, of where it points, or how much of a alternatively is it the opposite? Is it a complete curveball that has tipped all your expectations asunder? I assume it's a former, but I want to hear that from you.
There's going to be a fork in the road that could lead to two things, I believe. One is going to be like the human element is going to be even more sought after, right? It's going to be, the feeling, the touch, the analog experience is going to be, like companies are going to pay for it and want it. And how do I get an emotional connection to humanity in my company, in my place, in my role, all of it? That's one fork. The other one is going to be a little bit grayer, a little bit darker, and that's going to be implementing, note taking, right? So if you're not aware, Microsoft talked about ChatGPT is already in the works of being integrated into Teams and other platforms. Did you know this?
I presumed so. I hadn't heard it specifically.
He's like, of course,
I guess they might,
So the downside to that is, how many calls have you ever been in where you've got those note takers? You ever see like note takers when you join a meeting call and they're note takers?
Yeah,
By the way,
totally.
whenever I'm on a call with anybody and I see everyone joins and then I see note taker, I tell them, turn it off. Turn it off. I don't want you. What is this? I don't want a robot taking my words out of context. Turn it off. But we are, and some other companies, again, I told you my brothers at Microsoft, they're using it as a note taker, right? They're going to put it into Teams, and now somebody can say, "Hey, Tom, if you remember or if you recall, Tom, November 2022, you said this in a meeting." Like, yeah. Like, yeah, I did. That's 2022, Geoff. This is today, Geoff. Suck it up. I'm not, right?
It's interesting, actually, Geoff. I hadn't even thought of it before I get you on the call today, and now my head is full of the privacy implications of ChatGPT and the whole capacity of this technology to scrape our identities up into these very strange, readily assembled
You're conscious.
packages. Your entire being, and just present it to whoever has potentially requested it, right? I mean, there aren't strict strictures on what can and can't be accessed by this technology. Then, for instance, every utterance you've ever made on the internet could easily be gathered up and given to a potential, for instance, new employer or current employer or whomever.
Super duper agree with that, and that is a conversation that I've had about now with this technology and AI. Is today the day that every person has the record button pressed? Of those people that are too young to know that, there used to be a record button that you would press on a tape deck or something like that.
Sure.
But
yeah.
Like, is today the day, Tom? Is today the day that we record? And I hate to talk about, like, what is it, Black Mirror? I think it was Black Mirror that actually
Black Mirror
had
would
something
be a
like
touchstone, yeah, for sure.
And they talked about how imagine 10, 20 years from now, Tom, you're married, you have a wife and kids, and your wife says to you, "Hey, Tom, let's go back to March 14th, 2025. Of course, it's 2035, right? Let's go back when you said this or you did that, or, hey, remember that?" Like, how horrible of an argument is it going to be when you're like, Tom, you said this, and you're like, like, let's go back to the tape.
I don't know. Sometimes referring to the tape might be that might not be
if
allowed.
You're always right.
That might not be allowed in arguments with my wife, Geoff. She might.
Yes, if you're always correct. And Tom, as we all are, if you're always right, it could be a good thing, right? If you're always 100% on point, than literally going back to the live reel, right? Hey, honey, I get what you said, but let's go back. Let's go to the highlights here. Let's rewind to 3 weeks ago when you said this or that. That stinks, right? That's like, part of being human is making mistakes. Part of being human is finding the edge by going over the edge, right? Nobody knows where that is. If you have to go over, you have to fail. And I believe that a lot of people think AI is going to remove failure from humanity, right? Why make mistakes? We can't make mistakes. AI is going to calculate and modulate all of it to make sure that we don't make mistakes. It's going to be perfect every time. How many mistakes led to incredible innovations, right? Like how many, like what was it? The penicillin, right? Mm-hmm. Penicillin. So I forgot exactly the story behind penicillin, but it's something like somebody scientists made a sandwich, left the bread out, got moldy, spilt some garbage on it, found that the moldy piece of the bread had a weird reaction with bacteria on it, and they go, ham. And I'm sure that scientist probably first said, like, who knew ham sandwiches? That's the cure, But it's those mistakes that are such a beautiful analogy to humanity, right? It's that beautiful mistakes, right? It's a happy accident. It's things like that. Now, I wonder, right, is that something that AI can do? Can AI accidentally discover stuff that's amazing in a completely different discipline, right? If I'm a scientist and I'm working on X, can AI help me figure out a better way to kick a soccer ball, right? Because I was doing one thing and I did the other thing and I merged it together. I don't. Again, the AI piece goes into consciousness. What is consciousness? How do you measure certain things in and around us without getting too off the deep end, right? Of like quantum theory and wormholes. But how do you ensure that AI runs in a sidecar with us and not overtakes humanity? I think it can happen.
Yeah, how do you lock the door once the horse is bolted? It feels a little bit like, doesn't it? A little bit like that. Like
well, it's out now. I mean,
these were the
Google
questions to ask maybe years ago. I mean, I remember seeing Elon Musk on talking about this years ago, maybe 3 years ago, something like that. He said at the time he'd booked a meeting with Obama to specifically say, look, I think we really need to be aware of the impact and significance of AI, particularly if it becomes conscious or something. This is the biggest issue in the world. And Obama was like, I got other things to do. I got a busy day. And, he sort of shrugged and said, oh, well, it's going to go the way it's going to go. Not a lot you can do to avert or
not everybody is that far into the future, right?
Exactly,
not everybody, I mean, look, not everybody goes that far, because I'll tell you what, it's a dangerous exercise sometimes for some people. I often sit down and we, if you don't, I'm sure some people do. If you don't, Tom, right? Like do that exercise of where are we in 2035, 2045, right? Mm-hmm. And the only reference we have is the past. Mm-hmm. So I sit back and I say, in 2000, you remember 2000? In 2000, man, like I still rocked a pager. Some people listening to your podcast might know what a pager is.
Pretty cool, Geoff.
It is.
Pager guy.
I did though. I was a nerd in college. I know, like newsflash, I was a super nerd in college, and I had like a belt clip Nokia phone, and I had a pager. And believe it or not, because I was in IT, right? Because I was in IT, this is the truth. This was late 90s IT. I had a pager because if there was a power outage, or there was like we had Access databases. Remember Access, Microsoft Access? So if there was a power outage or the building of the Coliseum, because I went to USC, had an issue, they would power it down. I would get a page. And that page was basically just saying like, everything's off and we need you to like go and press power buttons on all the stuff. Because at that point in time, there was no, I don't even know if UPSs existed in the 90s, right? Like maybe there was battery backups. I don't remember or not, but that was what my page was for. And then my Nokia cell phone, that was personal. But I remember having like, I was like, I got a cell phone. I'm the coolest dude ever. Now look where we are. We have supercomputers, right? The iPhone, the Android phones, like you have the compute power of like 10 times what it took to go to the moon on your hand. That's what we did from, late 90s to now. Now, as we know, you could talk about 1,000 different scientific rules, but, technology keeps doubling and doubling and doubling, right? So where are we in 2035 or 2040? And again, I have a vested interest in that because my son is 13. I want to make sure like I give him the best swimming lane to take to success, right? As a dad, as a father, like you want to say like, make sure you go this way and avoid these things. Or, like autonomous driving. I drive a stick shift, right? I'm a manual guy. I'm an analog guy. I love hearing things rev and like physically touch things, right? All this autonomous stuff. Every other day, there's some other jabroni like blowing off a friggin' like flying off into like a fire truck or like, ramping off a cliff because it's like, oh, I had autopilot on my Tesla. You don't belong in a car if you have to just get in and fall asleep or read a newspaper. We've all seen these videos of some bozo reading a newspaper or like that's AI. That is the best analogy I always see. Like that's AI. You can trust it until you can't. Right? You can trust AI until you drive off a cliff, and then someone's looking at the black box to say, "What happened?" Oh. I was eating breakfast, reading a newspaper, and taking a nap while my car was driving me to work. Yeah. So
I feel really like I think my feeling about it all philosophically and about AI and automation in general, and what worries me as a parent is I really think that work is good for us. Like I feel that like without work and without responsibilities. We just kind of our characters just evaporate. They deteriorate. We need to be responsible for things, and I think we need to be meaningfully
Speak for yourself, Tom.
for things. I think you just articulated a pretty similar point of view.
Speak for yourself, Tom. I think meaning. Work can define some. I know many of people that work defines them. And it's also where you are in life. I used to never understand when I was in my 30s why my boss, who was in their late 40s, early 50s, was like, Sunday afternoon, I'm getting a flurry of emails, right? 9:00 at night, Saturdays, phone calls. Like, I never understood it. I was like, dude, do you not have a life? But they do have lives. It's just a different evolution, right? It's they've already had their young kids. They've already got their kids out of the house, right? They've already like they're I'm not going to say alone, but that's really what it comes down to. Like the pyramid, you start getting to the top of this pyramid where you have like one or two great friends, right? Or best friends, right? If you're lucky like me, like your wife's your best friend, or one of your best friends, and you have best friends, but it's a very small group. And without that, some people don't have that. You have what? You have work, right? You have what do I stand for? What is I? What do I do? And what's the meaning of what I do? People are like, well, I'm an IT professional. I do IT stuff. I make everyone's life better. I make the experience better. I do like Intune upgrades and I do Windows 11 upgrades, and I'm making everybody's life better by doing what I do. There's an impact, right? But if you strip that away from some people, it can get a little sad, right? It can get really sad. And I've known people that do that. Like, again, it's exactly what happens. It's a quickening when people lose their jobs, right? We've all seen these huge swatches of Microsoft laying off 10,000, Amazon, Google, Zoom. And again, that's a microcosm of everything, right? That's the macro. I've heard a million software companies right now that are looking for a reason or an excuse to kind of like, streamline the org chart, right? When that happens, right, to people that are, and again, talking back to those people in their 20s, there is a colleague of mine that doesn't work at Mondelez, works at another company, that is in their 20s, was laid off, not married, no kids. But I called him because it was abrupt. I was working with him on a project. He was laid off on like a Friday. Mm-hmm. On Monday, of course, I get the out of office or whatever, and I ping him. I ping him on messages, and I'm like, "Hey, man," and he's like, "Dude, they called me. They let me go." And I was like, "Dude, like, oh my god!" So I called him. I'm like, "Is there anything I can do?" Because he was a cool person, smart, goal-driven, like a cool person. And I was like, "How can I help you? Like, take a look at Mondelez, see if there's anything I could help you with, see if there's any roles here. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of cool people, like Tom, I know you." I'm like, "Just let me see if I can help you." And he was so depressed, Tom, dark, dark. Like, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I want to even work anymore. I don't know if I want to do any of this stuff. This is just a guy.
Well, you're in luck. You're in the right economy.
That's right. I mean, he's, and it's. Look, I guess thank God I called him in a way, because he was really down,
sure,
really down, and I said, "Look, man, don't go crazy. Don't go get bombed every night. Like, do what you need to do to get it out of your system, but like, you got to get back on that horse. This is life. Get back on that horse and go." Right? And he was like, "Well, what do you think I should?" I'm like, "Dude, go." Like, I can tell you that you can't stop, right? Because he was like, I'm thinking about just like kind of like taking a few months off. I'm like, no, that's not a good idea. That's like people that say like, I'm just going to take a few months off before I go to college, and they never go to college or higher learning in general, right? It doesn't matter if it's college or not. Like, I want to go to electrician school. I want to go to a trade school. I want to learn how to like fly a giant ostrich. Like, I don't know, whatever it is you want to do. Like, don't stop. Even if you start moving and it's in the wrong direction, the exercise, like physical exercise, mental exercise, spiritual exercise, you have to exercise.
Yeah.
Whether you're jogging in the wrong direction or not, you have to keep jogging. You have to keep moving. So here's a question for you, Tom.
Go on.
Here's Neuralink, right? Let's talk about 2035, 2040, 2050,
Sure,
right?
sure.
So you're given an option to be an early adopter, and they say, "Tom, the IO is very slow right now. I ask you a question, you don't know the answer, you Google it on your phone, you read it, it goes in your head, right? It takes time, and it's not always 100%. In 5 years, you're given the opportunity to be an early adopter. That IO now is here. It's behind your ear. It's injected into your brain, and now you're able to get that IO. That time now is in milliseconds. I ask you a question, you're able to connect to, Internet of Things, cloud, and now you can respond. Are you one of those people that adopts it? Are you one of those people that goes in for surgery to have your brain connected to the Googles?
No, I don't think so. No.
Why?
Well, I believe. Look, I could just be a fossil, Geoff. I could
we
just
all
be
are, but
but I could, what I think is my values could just be just pure product of the past,
Okay, 20 years from now, you're 60 years old, so 56. So you're 60 years old. 20 years from now, right? 90% of the planet has some type of, cyborg-ish connection. Whether it's, I'm sure you've seen mechanical arms, right? Mechanical eyes. We're getting close to that anyway. Now you're in the 10% that you're like almost just an anomaly, right? You're a humanoid thing walking around that doesn't have the connection to everything, right? Think about this. 20 years from now, you have a team of project managers and people working at your company that are all interconnected, right? If I have a thought and I'm thinking about something and I'm working on something, Tom already knows that I'm thinking about it because we're all in a collective consciousness in this space. We have OneDrive for brains, right? Hey, do you have access to my OneDrive in my head, Tom? I'm giving you access right now. Boop. By the way, don't look at this folder. That's not a good folder to look at. Look at this folder right here, right? Yes, stay out of this folder. I gave you access to this folder. It's a reality. Again, this is my thought experiment of going into 20 years from now. That in itself sounds like it solves a business problem. How do I get the 25 people on my team to be in perfect synchronicity? How do you make sure everybody is moving at the same pace, at the same speed? And I'll tell you where it's going to happen first. It's going to be in military. You're going to have military teams, SEAL Team 6, 7, 8. You're going to have militia that's going to be perfectly synchronized to do anything that a robot or drone can't do. And that's where, if they're not already working on it, I can imagine that somewhere that could solve a big problem. I'm with you though. I really don't want IT anywhere, in me. I'm okay with it being the way it is now. But hey, maybe I'm old school.
Yeah. I mean, but I think I share with you, Geoff. I share with you a sort of fundamental optimism in the sense that, look, one thing people have a tendency to do is to overthink things and exaggerate our sense of control in the first place. Like we're subject to already to things which are so much greater than us, and you just have to make the best of your day and try and live as positively and directly as possible, don't you? But listen, I think we're just about out of time, Geoff. This has perhaps been of our 4 long conversations. This has perhaps been my favorite one, and I forgot to say at the top, Tim would have joined us, but he was actually traveling from I think Dubai back to the States. He was stopping off en route in London and thought maybe if it was like his plane was early from a lounge, he might join us, but is obviously unable to. Sends his best. Sounds like you're ahead of the game and you've already. But
unacceptable.
But he sends his best, and look, absolute pleasure talking to you again, Geoff. Until number 5,
always, man.
Take care. It was great. It gave me a lot to think about. And look, if anybody is interested in thinking more about the impacts of ChatGPT, not only on IT but on humanity, there's a Reality Bites episode from a couple of weeks ago you should check out. There are articles on the Dex Hub, links in the description, covering not just ChatGPT but the whole gamut of AI and IT. Just leaves me to say thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much, Geoff, and we will surely, truly see you soon.
To make sure that you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast player. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a rating of the show. Just tap the number of stars you think the podcast deserves. If you'd like to learn more about how NextThink can help you improve your digital employee experience, head over to nextthink.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.